Hi, this is the Factorio free play. My task is to launch a rocket into space. You need to research advanced technologies in order to unlock the rocket silo. Start small, work your way up with automations, and don't forget to protect yourself from the natives. What about natives are? So, a bit of a confession, I have already played this game before, so I know most of the stuff that I need to do, but I'm gonna take you through all the steps. And then this is really a fun game. If you are a software developer, software engineer, there's a high chance that you will get into it. And the only advice is that don't let it consume all of your time, which did it for me. So one thing, this is you apparently got stranded into an alien planet, and then the rocket ship is in unrecoverable state. I'm stuck in this planet, I don't know what's around, but apparently I have all those menus to kinda gives me a little bit overwhelming signals that what I could do. First thing is you use your keyboard ASDW to walk around, and you want to get closer to some of the items in the map. For example, this is obviously the most apparent thing that catches the player's eye. If I hold Aurora, it's a spaceship, and then what I know is that when I do this, and then if I right click on this thing, the player will start digging into the item. So yeah, see, like you see this like a little progress bar. Once it's finished, all this rocket ship is gone. And then yeah, I think you had a little indication saying plus something, and that means this item has been collected into your inventory as a part of the game item. How to see that? You press, and then you'll see what has been just collected. I don't actually know which one of those came from the rocket ship, maybe all of them or some of them, but you can see that it's not actually the rocket ship that you've collected, but these are the items that will be really useful to get your game started. So this is kind of like a game's tutorial to get you into it, right? Next thing, I will do the same for this one. I'm not sure if it'll give me this thing. I'm starting to guess. If I hover over and it says something on this side, I don't know how I point into that thing, but yeah, if I hover over here, I see this like a 2, and this is, I know that this is iron plate. So if I collect this by clicking the right button, then yeah, +2 iron plates. So if I go open the thing, then yeah, this thing has been collected as a part of the item. I can do the same, but I'll just ignore anything that doesn't have any collectibles in it. Even if it doesn't have a collectibles, I can make it disappear by doing the same thing. So I keep clicking the right button. Oh, this one has a 1 iron plate, so which is useful. This one doesn't have anything, skip. Oh, this one has some, so on. So now that you know that you could collect items by right clicking on it, depending on the size of it, I guess, the time to complete the digging varies. Similarly, I can do the same thing for all the other items that's in the map. So if I hover over to the tree, I can right click on it, and then it does have a nice animation, so you know exactly what this player is doing. Just cutting the woods, and then you're collecting. I'm not telling what you can do with these items yet, but I will get into it shortly. Right, so now my inventory has 4 items. What I will be explaining next is how to use them. So because it is the inventory, it has the count of each items. I have 17 units of the woods, 1 each for these things and 5 for them. All right, this one is the coal field. So if I click on the right field, then it's gonna collect the coals. Did it? No, it didn't. Okay. Yep, as you can see, it is really a time-consuming process, but surely I am collecting the coals. So the game, the purpose is to eventually you wanna find a way to escape out of this planet. But first, building a rocket, as you can imagine, is really a labor-intensive process, right? So you cannot just do it by your hand, like you've been cutting your trees or like collecting the coals like this. So instead, what you have to focus is how you can get there? By automating, scaling up your system so that, as the game title says, the factory is going to do that job for you, right? So what I am thinking right now is open up the inventory. I see all those items. I can place the items into this to help me automate things, and from there I can build I can build my way up into the rocket escape, right? So what I will do is to click on this thing, and then I close the inventory by pressing the E again, and then I can place this item on the field. Notice that if I try to place it too far away from the character, it's gonna say cannot reach, and then this is preventing from kind of defeating the one of the game design, the motivation for the automation. Because if I can place these things in a very large map arbitrarily, then you have maybe less motivation to start automating. Because I can only place those things in an area that's close to you, what I instead want to focus is to keep placing it, and then everything should work automatically, right? So next I'm gonna place this thing called burner mining drill into the coal field. So guess what happens? It will be starting to collect the coals. Nope. Yep, so the indication says, however, it says no fuel on the right pane. So I have to provide the coal or something, like it says consumes burnable fuel. So how to do that? I can do that manually by clicking on this thing. It's gonna open up the pane for this burner mining drill's status, and then here in the empty cell it says fuel, and then the burnable fuel, this accepts any of those fuels. So wood, coal, solid fuel, rocket fuel, and nuclear fuel. Since conveniently I have a wood and a coal here, I can insert this one here by clicking on it. So this is coming from the character's inventory, picking up from your bag, and then put it into here directly. Once I do that, then this is happy, it says working, and then as a result of the working, I get to see that the coal has been produced. It's hard to see, but if I hover over here, the status changed from working to the waiting for space in destination. What that means is that there's a little arrow here. So this is the output of the call. This is like blended into the background call. But if I hover over here and then press F, then I will be able to collect the drops from the ground. Yeah, it did. Now that I've collected the item by hand, it is not working again. And then the reason it stops again is because as soon as this space is being occupied, then this has no way to put the produced call into. So next, yeah, there you go. It's item on the ground, and this is different from this one. And if it says item on the ground, the player can manually pick it up by pressing F close to it here. All right. So I could either just keep picking up by hand, but this is not the automation at all. So what I want to do next is to look for the items that could automatically move the item on the ground to somewhere else. And then for that, we have a perfect item called transport belt, the belt conveyor, in another word. For this one, I don't have it, but on the right side of the thing, it's called crafting. And then because this one has a brighter layer than those grayed out ones, I know that this is craftable only using the items that I already have. This one are already craftable, but these ones, it says, it kind of indicates that the ingredient shortage by providing what exactly is not available. So because I had already provided the woods into the fuel of that burning drill, I don't have enough woods to create it. I could cut it down from the tree, but I don't do it right now. And then this one, I need 1 iron plate and 1 iron gear wheel. And then the iron gear wheel, even though I don't have it, if I go into the iron gear wheel, which is a little bit tricky because it is hidden in another tab, but so this one, so intermediate products, and there you go. So that 1 iron gear wheel can be created from 2 iron plates. So the game is wise enough to know that the total iron plate of 3 is already available in my hands. so that it's going to create intermediate products for me, and then to produce the one transport belt for me in the end. So in order to craft it by hand, if I just simply click it, and then there's a little bit of the indication that it was in a crafting state, but eventually it gets appeared in my inventory. So when I have that inventory, I click on it, my inventory tab, and then here we go. So just like the same as the burning drill, I can place it on the ground to make it do the job, which is to move the item that was on the ground to move to somewhere else. What I did is that when I'm placing the item on the ground, I can hit R to change the direction of where you want that bit to go. So here, a little bit of the design, 2D space design comes in. This is the first time that you get into it, which will come many more times throughout the play of the Factorio. All right, so I know that this is the minefield, and then I know that most likely I will be able to duplicate these things to create the collection of the burning drill to get the most out of this field. Probably my thinking is that I want to save the space on the right side, and then I want to use the space on the left side that has less coals to be on the ground. So I'll press R twice to turn the belt in 180 degree, and then click R, left click to press it, and then the one of them is placed. And then I forgot that one click on this will create the two of the transport belts. So now I have remaining one left. I can place it, and here you go. You already saw the action. It wasn't clear until you place the conveyor belt, but now that this burning mine drill is a little bit longer to be able to work, because it has much more space to work with. But again, because I only placed two of them, it's quickly reached into the state of the waiting for space and destination. And then, but this time, because the item on the ground, these things not blended into the field, you know exactly what that means by waiting for space and destination. So what's next? Yes, the next is to extend this conveyor belt so that you'll just keep producing without those produced coals get into the way of the burner mining drill. Right, but in order to do that, I clicked the open, but this thing is unfortunately not enough ingredients. I clicked it, and then so my next task is to make sure that I have enough iron plates to make enough transport belts to get this automation going. All right, so how do I get the iron plates? I could keep looking for the iron plates that came from the rocket ship, but probably it's gonna run out really soon if any at all is left. So I have to see, is there any way that I can make the iron plate by myself? I go to the intermediate products, I hover over to the iron plate, and then here you go. Iron plate, one iron plate, it needs is being made from that one iron ore. And iron ore is, if you are the English native speaker, that's the raw stone that will eventually get into the iron. And then so I know that this one is the coal field. This one looks like some kind of the ore. However, this is copper. This is not the one that I'm looking for. How about this one? This is not it. How about this one? Yes, this is the iron ore that I want to go for. All right. So I came here. I don't know the automation to get started. So only thing I can do is to click on the right button, and then collecting iron by my hand. It looks in, and it actually is. First, you don't have anything to start with, so this is the only way to start crafting. Right, it says the total iron ore I have 8, 9, and 10, and if I have 10, let's see, open the inventory, and I get to see, oops, no, oh shit, yeah, sorry, I forgot to tell that some of the items can be crafted by your hands like this one, but this one needs some of the items cannot be crafted by hands, and for those you need the indicated items here. So in order for this to be crafted, it says made in stone furnace, steel furnace, or electric furnace. And then luckily, and I think that was the whole purpose of the rocket ship introduction, is that it gave me the stone furnace as an artifact of the rocket ships. So what I can do is to come here, place the stone furnace somewhere like that, and then So the fuel, click on it. I provide the fuel. It needs the coil. I have a coil here, place it here, but no ingredients. Yes, so this is the one that this furnace can work with. Stone, iron ore, copper ore, and I have the iron ore, so I can place this one here. And then yes, it started working, consuming the coal as a fuel, and then turning the iron ore into that. It is working. It's converting 1-to-1 ratio. I can collect this one by clicking it and then placing it this side so that it's added, and then the total of 6 I have. Or I could hover over the mouse here. I could click on the control, and then it's gonna give me, I think the shift is gonna work as well. Yeah, shift and then click, and then it will automatically means that I intended to pick all them up into my inventory. All right, after converting all the iron ore I had, it has no ingredients to work with, but instead I have 12 iron plate. So with this much, I probably should be able to extend the transport belt by 4. All right. So now I come here and I can start extending the iron belt, but now I quickly realize that, hey, so even at how much work is it needed to keep the belt going, and in the first place, what is the purpose of bringing the iron ore, the extending iron ore into what kind of automation that I have in my mind? So this is when the game's purposes has to be explained. But for now, for this first part of the introductory video, I want to explain that just like what it is to, like, why do you want to automate for any kind of things in this game? So I know that in order for this to work, I need some kind of view, and then this is the only requirements for this to keep. So in order for this to keep working, there are 2 apparent requirements, constraints. The one is that it has to have enough fuel, and the second one is it has to have a space and destination. So in order for this to be solved with this one, I needed to create a layout so that the transport belts can become the fuel, the very fuel itself that the burning mile can use to produce more. And then because I haven't actually checked, but it has to be that the amount of coal that this can mine is greater than the amount of fuel that this needs as a fuel. I can make a bit of an infinite, ever-growing loop only if I have a way to move the fuel into this one, and then the belt conveyor is solving one part of the problem. All right, so let's do that. I make a little bit more belts, place it like this. If I have the extension of the existing belt, if I press the R, instead of going like this, yeah, it has an indication that, you know, it goes into the right, it turns to the right. Place it here, so I have made L shape here. The reason why I needed to do that is this doesn't automatically insert it into the burning mild as a fuel. I need some sort of the mechanism here to automate the insertion into this section instead of by hand. And then for that, I already know that in the inventory, I have this thing called the burner inserter, and then this thing does exactly the job that I just described. Click on it to craft by hands. This one again also needs iron plate to be made, but I can make it by hand. So click on it. I made 1 burner inserter. I pick it up from the inventory, place it on the ground, and then this one has an indication of this horizontal bar and then the little triangle. This means the horizontal bar is the one that this picks up from, and then triangle is the one that this inserts into. So press R a couple times so that I can indicate this thing on the left side should go into the right side. Place it here, and then it has a nice animation saying that this itself needs the coal as a fuel, but it is really smart that as long as the one that it's picking up is a fuel that this can be used, it first satisfies itself fuel's requirements and then do the job of inserting that thing and moving it into this one. So now that I have the smallest bit of the automation, 1 drill, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces for the transport belts and one inserter, and then it is able to kind of self-satisfy the condition by themselves, but only till I exhaust all the available space on the belts. So that's the next step that I have to solve. But so far, I think this explanation did a good job. How this game evolves into the hand picking items from the ground, which is a super slow process. But now you can actually leave the sites and then let them do the job by themselves, which is the whole point of this game. So that's the end of the video. Hope you enjoyed it. See you next time.